Welcome to PPTV, and it's your boy, the Black Mamba. It's October the 12th, episode number 22. And guys, we back. Moving right along in this NFL season. Already at week 6, and got some more bangers for you guys. Last week wasn't the undefeated week that I was hoping for, but 5-2 ain't too shabby. So we got some more bangers for you this week. Got half and half for you. Got some honorable mentions. Then I got a couple of bangers for you guys. So let's jump right into it. I got 4 honorable mentions this week. And honorable mention number 4 is Chicago versus the Minnesota Vikings. And in this game, I like the Bears to cover that 3. This game, it'll have a couple of variables in it. It could be dependent on the weather, which means that, you're going to depend on the run game. Minnesota, they'll be without Justin Jefferson this week. And that injury is going to be huge for them because now they're going to have to maybe rely a little bit on the running game. Chicago's defense is actually getting healthy. They'll have a few players back in their defensive backfield this week. And I think that Chicago can have some run success this week. Surprisingly, I pulled up a few stats, and they are 11th in yards per play on offense, and they're 12th in yards per pass, which, that's not shabby, especially for a team as bad as the Bad News Bears. And the Vikings, of course, just like last year, they're a very questionable team that always plays close games. So with that being said, I like the Bears in this game. My honorable mention number 3 is the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore, I don't know what happened last week. They let my Steelers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have an inept offense, beat them last week. So if you looked at the game, which I did, if you looked at the game closely, you'd be scratching your head wondering, how did Baltimore lose this game? But let me tell you, this is how they lost. They were up 10-3. Getting ready to go up 17-3, dominating the game, and Lamar Jackson throws an interception in the end zone. And not only that was the only bad play that he had, but he also had there was some unexcusable drops in this game. They had like 7 drops. 2 other drops were in the end zone. They easily could have won this game, and they're playing the Tennessee Titans this week. I don't think that on paper, this game should not even be close, guys. Check these numbers out for the Baltimore Ravens. They are 3rd in red zone rate, and they're 8th on 3rd down, converting on 3rd down. They're solid, not only in the pass game, but also in the run game. Tennessee, they have been like one of my darlings this year. If you guys have been following me, I love Tennessee as a team that can cover the spread, but this week I think that they're just a little outmatched. Their defense fell apart last week. Tannehill, if truth be known, is probably one of the worst quarterbacks in the league this year. So on paper, this game should not be close. I think there's tremendous value, especially with the Ravens only giving up 4.5 points. So honorable mention number 3 is the Baltimore Ravens. Honorable mention number 2 is the Indianapolis Colts. I really like this Colts team. They're well coached with the offensive coordinator from Philly coming over and coaching. They have a capable backup in Gardner Minshew this week, and I think this matchup actually rates well for him as opposed to Anthony Richardson, who's going to be out for a couple of weeks because Jacksonville is 26th in pass rate. Minshew, he's completed 69% of his passes this year, with 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. And he's also gotten to practice with the first team, which is probably the first time this year. So now he's getting first team reps. Not only that, the Colts, they'll be able to rely on their run game. So with all that said, I like the Indianapolis Colts to cover that 3.5 against the Jacksonville Big Jags. And my honorable mention number 1 is the Miami Dolphins. This game should not be close. Only way I can see Carolina covering this game is if they are able to come through the back door some way. Miami's going to be without Devon Achane this week, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. Carolina, their offense is just dismal. They cannot move the ball. Last week, even though they scored 24 points, 2 of those touchdowns came in garbage time after they were down 35 to 10. So I don't see a whole lot happening with this offense moving the ball. And a fun fact for you, Tua is 14-5 against the spread at home. I think that trend continues this weekend, especially with the Carolina defense where that's falling apart. That was the best thing about their team. So I like Miami to cover that 13.5. And now let's get into these bangers for the week. Venomous pick number 3 is the Houston Texans, and they're going up against the New Orleans Saints this week, getting a 1.5. Where them dogs at? It's the week of the underdogs. I like this young Houston team. They're a lot better than I was thinking they were going to be this year, and just watching the preseason, I didn't think they were going to be very good. But they're actually better than I thought. They're 6th in yards per pass ranked in offense, led by a rookie, C.J. Stroud, who he's having a phenomenal year so far to start. And he hasn't thrown an interception. He's on the brink of breaking a record. I think that record may be held by Dak Prescott, where he's the pass attempts that he's without an interception. I don't know what that number is, but I think he's close to making history as far as a rookie starting. I really like Houston to cover this game. New Orleans, they're not good in the red zone, and they can't move the ball in chunks. Even though they beat down the New England Patriots last week, they were only averaging like 4.3 yards per play. It's equivalent to what Carolina's doing. So they're in the basement as far as moving the ball. And another edge that Houston has, their coaching staff is a lot better than the Saints coaching staff. So with that said, Houston is Venomous pick number 3. And with Venomous pick number 2, I like those Detroit Lions. You know, some teams just start to grow on you, and I think I'm getting to a point where you can watch the Lions and you can kind of trust them a little bit. They're actually out there balling. They're not your daddy's Detroit Lions anymore. They're playing a Tampa Bay team, which has done pretty good so far this year, but I don't think they've ran into the competition they're about to run into this week. Actually, I know they haven't, because Tampa Bay, they have a porous run offense. They can't run the ball, and that doesn't bode well for playing this Detroit Lions team. Detroit's defense has not given up over 43 yards to any running back this year. And those are running back, with names like Bijan Robinson, Kenneth Walker, Isaiah Pacheco. So if those guys can't get over 43 yards, I don't see how Rachaad White's going to be able to muster up that with this bad Tampa Bay run offense that they have. Detroit is also, it's just going to be a total mismatch. Detroit is 6th in yards per pass, limiting, bad offenses. And on offense, Detroit is actually ranked 5th in yards per play, and they're ranked 4th in yards per pass. So they get Amon-Ross St. Brown back this week. So they should be clicking on all cylinders, and all roads point to Detroit not blowing out, but covering this line fairly easy with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I love Detroit as my number 2 venomous pick of the week. And the most venomous pick of the week is the Seattle Seahawks versus the Cincinnati Bengals this week. I love Seattle. This is another massive mismatch based on the numbers that I was able to come across. So just check these numbers out, guys. Cincinnati's defense is 30th in yards per rush, which means that Seattle's defense is first in yards per rush. So Seattle loves to run the ball, and Cincinnati's defense is 30th in the league against the rush. Seattle loves to run, and they are also first in the league rushing the ball. Seattle's offense and defense has a top 10 ranking. This game could have some bad weather. Check this out, guys. Cincinnati's defense is 30th in yards per rush against the run. Seattle's defense is number 1 against the yards rush per game. It's not a good look for the Cincinnati offense. This game could be sprinkled with a little bad weather, which means both teams would have to depend on the run. If that's the case, then the nod definitely goes to Seattle's run game. Cincinnati, they showed some signs of life last week against Arizona, but even yet and still, they had only 4.8 yards per play. Even with the big play that went to Jamar Chase, you take that play out and it's only 4 yards per play. I don't think that's going to happen this week with Seattle's secondary, who is a lot better. They may not even be able to throw the ball depending on the weather. Seattle right now is 3-1 against the spread. They're 2-0 against the spread on the road, and they've won 3 straight. I see that trend continuing this week with Seattle. With that said, I love Seattle as that underdog getting it done this week. Seattle's my venomous pick of the week. And if you guys hung in there with me this long, I got a little bonus banger for you. And that is, I got a 2-team teaser. I like the Washington Redskins plus 8.5, and the Seattle Seahawks plus 9 in a 2-team teaser. And with that said, guys, let's go out there and dominate with these picks. Let's go out and have a great week of football. Public service announcement: spike that like, comment, and subscribe. And it's your boy, the Black Mamba, out.